Told y'all I was coming. Welcome to Elevator Talk with Gabe. All right. Before we get started, shout out to God, shout out my people, shout out my family, man. I really hope y'all took time to check out those intro videos because that's for anybody wondering why I got my ass up here. All right. What his little ass know about relationships, all this, that, and the third. Yes, that's for you. All right. Spend some time before you criticize and find out where I got my credentials from. All right. Now, before we get started, I want to be very clear on aims and objectives. My objective is to promote personal growth, professional growth, communal growth, healthy relationships, all through effective communication. All right, why personal growth? Because we can fix a lot of our problems just with decent communication. All right, not just partners, relationships, but even family, friends. Life is about sustaining relationships if you haven't figured it out already. All right, why professional growth? Because as a leader in corporate America, I can advise on a number of different issues. All right, whether it be how to conduct yourself in interviews, teaching communication, choices, trade-offs, career paths. Again, I'm not claiming to be any sort of guru, but what I can tell you is what I got to say is a lot more useful than that shit you're looking at on social media. All right, but it's opinion. We'll see. Bottom line, in my line of work, when somebody asks you a question, real bad is not a sufficient answer. All right. Um, on the communal growth, everything that I talk about, everything that I do, and I challenge you to hold me to this, everything's going to be for the betterment of the community. That is my angle, okay? That is my angle for the betterment of the community. So a portion of my bottom line is always going to go to select youth organizations. In this case, episode 1, shout out to the Kappas. All right, I got the Kappa Leaguers in Silver Spring going to be the beneficiaries of episode 1. All right, please donate. 1,000%, I expect you to donate. All right. But look, let's get ahead of this. I don't want to hide the fact that I intend to make money. All right. I'm not going to be asking. All right. But what I will ask of you is if you see anything of benefit, if you hear anything of benefit, show your gratitude, show your thanks through a tip. All right. All throughout the show, you'll see at the bottom of the screen, donate to that specific Cash App to support the show. Support the damn show. All right. Now, on another note, all right, a lot of y'all know me personally. All right. But I cannot emphasize enough, I'm going to get my due respect. All right. I'm not going to disrespect anybody. I'm not here to do that. All right. I'm just here to offer my input. All right. But with that being said, anybody that I communicate with in this capacity, I'm not your brother. All right. I'm not your cousin. I'm not your boyfriend, your ex, your father, none of that. All right. This is going to strictly be a consultant to client relationship. All right. That's the respect that I'm going to have when I come up here. All right. Now, taking it a step further, I've lived a black experience all my life. Baltimore, Chicago, Alcorn, HBCU. You know, that's where I come from. I've always been submerged in black culture, but I'm not just going to be speaking from the black point of view. I got to connect with all people. In my line of work, my clientele average 40 to 75 years old. I'm talking Asian, Hispanic, Latino, Native Hawaiian, other Pacific Islander, white. I have somewhat firsthand experience dealing with these people on a day-to-day basis. So again, my only point there is you're not just gonna get the black perspective from me. I'm gonna give it to you raw and uncut. All right, the way we're viewed as a whole. All right. Now, my target audience, y'all gonna figure yourself out. It's gonna filter. I'm not gonna pinpoint one group of people. I really hope everybody gives it a chance. But here's what I'm going to ask more so than anything else. Men, before you shit on my content, anything that I have to say, what I'm going to ask of you is just think of the young boys that have no idea the professional opportunities that's out here. Shit, a lot of y'all don't know the professional opportunities that's out here. I didn't until more recently. All right. But here you're going to see VPs. You're going to see sustained entrepreneurs, athletes, entertainers, doctors, the whole nine. All right. So, again, keep that in mind before you find something slick to say. All right. Now, women, before you shit on any content of mine, please understand there is a crisis in our community, whether you want to realize it or not. Children being born out of wedlock, you couple that with the Roe v. Wade news that just came out last month. All right. It's real. Very much real. All right, we got to learn to be together. And you know the biggest perk is marriage is the most feasible way to obtain wealth. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right, so it's in your best interest. It's in your children's best interest to learn how to get along with the next person. All right, cool. So about the game show. Today, you guys are going to be blessed to see the beautiful Jordan that I have with me. All right, but let me explain the game show because I know I haven't really dove into depth just yet. Quite simply, we're going to be having a conversation. That's it. Just stemming from whatever questions are chosen. The good news is you're not going to be judged from a right or wrong perspective. It's going to be more so communication based. I want to touch on hot topics. I want to touch on things that people love to talk about. All right, and opinions going to vary no matter who's up here. But if we maintain effective communication and respect for each other, we're going to be able to get somewhere. And whatever you get out of it is whatever you get out of it. Give it a chance. All right. Shortly after, the idea is I'm going to be sitting down with a panel to discuss the major hot topics and pain points throughout the conversation, and that's where you'll see the men of different professions that I made mention of. Not just men, we'll also have women as well. All right. Now, furthermore, let me explain the game show more so in depth. As you can see on screen, as of right now, I've identified a good number of the most common mistakes in communication. Lack of accountability, not answering the question, excessive masculinity, insults, guilt, need to be right, over talking, contradictions, deflection, selfish, delusion. Look, a lot of this may be unfamiliar to you at face value, but you'll see how common it is in our communication, which leads to toxicity. In the conversation that Jordan and I will have, all right, I'm going to be delivering strikes based off the amount of infractions. All right, first will be a warning, second will be a dock through a strike, and then you guys will see how the math will add up. All right, but let's go ahead and get started. All right, people, we live, we ready to go. All right, I am accompanied by Jordan. All right, the beautiful Jordan. She's 22 years old. All right, Jordan, you actually have a job, a government job, right?
Correct.
Got a government job. In addition, very passionate about pageantry, modeling. You competed in Miss USA as well.
Miss Maryland USA.
All right.
Miss
Congrats,
USA.
congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
But what we're gonna do is, when we looked at the questionnaire, there was a good number of topics that we touched on. So some will be relevant, some won't, and we'll just see where the conversation goes. But long story short, you're totally entitled to whatever opinion you see fit. All right, this is not a matter of right or wrong. It's more so, look, you state your case, I state mine. We may agree, may disagree, but it's all going to go through effective communication. All right, an effective line of communication. So I'm going to start by placing what we're going to be using as our scoring system, which is not known to you. So I'm gonna give you my opinion on what I think today's relationship, the problem in today's relationship is. All right, and I think a good number of men that women chose to deal with did a great deal of lying, if I'm being honest. I do think men lie, including myself. I had my moments. We all have. All right, but the way the world is set up, women need to figure out their life or get on a plan within their life a lot faster than what men do. All right, and that's just science. Your prime is obviously a lot earlier than ours. A man doesn't necessarily reach his prime until some would debate the 40s. All right, as opposed to a woman, she's at her prime state more so 22 to 28 years old.
And I'm sorry, so for the men, you're saying their prime is 40s for financial reasons, or
That's
what makes them attractive for a husband?
Right, because the notion that has never changed is that men are supposed to be responsible for some sort of provision for the family,
Gotcha.
providing for the family. All right, once you reach a certain financial status, it takes years and years of work and whatnot. It's very hard for a man to have it all together in his 20s, let alone his 30s. So most men, after you reap the benefit of your hard work more so in your mid 40s.
Okay.
All right, some would even argue early 50s. So that's what I mean by when we reach our prime. When we are ready to offer what we have to the world, all right, or to a family, we don't usually have it until much later on.
Okay.
All right. Now, again, for women, it's obviously a lot more physical. All right, and to kind of shed some light to the audience and why I say 22 to 28, just to give you the logic behind that, is most OBGYNs will say that after age 35, that's when you reach geriatric pregnancy. More
Right.
complications with pregnancy, miscarriages, the whole nine. So
Right.
from a health standpoint, 22 to 28 is more ideal for motherhood. All right, again, that's OBGYNs, right? So you understand the logic behind your prime is a lot earlier than ours. Do you disagree or agree with it?
Yeah, no, I feel where you're coming from.
Okay. All right, good. So, in turn, I feel like women need to decide very early on, like I said, in that 22 to 28 range, you need to decide, look, are you trying to build with a man? All right, or are you more so trying to work well with a man who's done a good deal of the building already? You follow me?
Yeah, no.
So if you're trying to, if you're getting with a man, all right, it's usually gonna come one of two ways. You even need to get in the process of he doesn't have it yet. Let's help build together, or a man who already has it. All right, let's say 30s, 40s, whatever the case may be. Then you want to get with him and help sustain and maintain what he's already worked to get. All right. Do you agree or disagree with anything in that regard? All right. Now let's take it a step further. I think ultimately the problem, and I gotta be careful when I say this. Just hear me out. I think the problem is within the women. All right, because women were lied to. I don't necessarily think it's women's fault.
Okay.
Women were lied to by everybody. You lied to by the men you're dealing with. I think baby boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Relationships like that toxic shit that's just so normal in our community. All right, you're lied to. All right. Not only were you lied to by some of the men you chose to deal with.
Right.
All right. And I'm not exempt from that. But you also lied to by the older women in your generation, telling you that you don't need a man. All right. When all throughout history, men and women needed each other. All throughout, there's never been a time when men and women did not need each other.
Right.
Right. So again, you lied to by the men, you were lied to by the older women in your generation, and you were lied to commercially through social media. Encouraging single behavior, encouraging single acts, freedom, black girl magic, and individuals and single mothers and strong and independent. These are all things that, do you think they go hand in hand with a relationship?
No, I don't think it's ideal. So, I always base everything on my own experiences. So, I'm not a mother, but I was raised by a single mother. So, she showed me that it was possible, but I also saw her struggle a lot, So, no woman should have to go through that. So, I do think...
You don't think no woman should have to go through single motherhood?
I don't think it's ideal at all. No, I think, men and women were made to be together. I do agree with that.
Okay.
So, I definitely don't think it's the ideal situation, but I living in that environment and seeing it be done by my mom, I do think it's possible, because I'd say I turned out okay. But
right. No, I'll give you that. I'll never question whether or not it's possible.
Yeah.
But what I will question is whether or not it's preferred, and was there a better route?
I agree.
All right.
I
so
agree.
I think in most cases, it's better to be in it hand in hand with a man,
right,
versus being in it by yourself, for a number of different reasons. All right, let's dive a little further, right? So again, we talked about women being lied to by men, the older women in your generation, and just society. Now, society, why are they lying to you? For economic gain. All right, 2 rental outputs. All right, 2 mortgage payments, either or. All right, money being pushed out for gas and electric, 2 different households. Right. Everything goes back into the economy. When you buy yourself, he buy himself. So it's in the best interest of the economy to encourage that.
Right.
And we soaking it all up. Right. Now, all right, whether it's fair or not, because you can argue that's just completely unfair for what women have had to deal with. All right, but whether it's fair or not, all right, what it has left us with, in my opinion, is you got good and you got bad men. All right, you have good and you got bad women.
Agreed.
Now, how can I word this? Out of the good women, some good women were left with a lack of relationship skills.
Okay.
And I think that's where the imbalance is. Not that men are just completely grading out at 100% when it comes to relationship skills, but women control sex. That's why you go on dates for free. That's why a man is texting you good morning when he can really care less about your morning. If we being honest, like, we're not the texters, we're not the communicators, we're not the emotional of the group. You guys are. All right, but you have men trying to appease in different ways and whatever they think is going to result.
But they just really like somebody.
You can really like somebody, but when we talking relationships, we're talking long term, right? All right, day one versus year 1 versus year 50, it's not in our human nature to just be leading through emotion and leading through what's a better word for emotion? All right, doing a lot of the things that aren't consistent with just being purely masculine.
Okay.
I hope I didn't. Did I lose you there?
Run it back one more time.
All right. So texting. First of all, the whole texting thing and this whole communication, this is brand new. Like back in the day, in the 40s, 60s, even the 80s, it was very much typical for the husband and the wife to not speak all day. There's no phones.
Yeah.
Right? So this constant communication thing, this is something that both men and women have had to deal with more recently. We've never had to deal with that. So what leads you to believe that men aren't doing a good or as good of a job leading as they have in the past?
I feel like in the past they had no choice but to get up and work. Women couldn't work. They had no choice but to get up and work and bring home enough money to provide, you know? Whereas like we legally could not work. We had to rely on men to provide for us. Whereas today, you know, everybody's given more freedom. Women can work. Men have more lenience on what they want to do for work. So their priorities aren't necessarily on the family or, you know, making sure their woman is straight. A lot of men actually, you know, go after women who do have the money. So it's, I don't know, it's like.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
No, you are. You are. Now, I respectfully disagree with a few of those points. Like, men still know, like men knew coming out the womb that when a woman looks at you, it's going to be the initial part. Like when a man looks at you initially, it's all beauty. All right, it's all gauging and measuring how attractive you are to the eye.
Right.
Do women look at it the same way? Not if there's a piece of it, but are they leading with just strictly physical attraction?
Are we leading with that? Like, will we get in a relationship with it?
Yeah.
Nah.
Are you more so leading with result-based, tangible things? Does he have this? Does he have that? How much money does he make? How can I immediately benefit? Would you agree or disagree with that?
There's a lot of women like that, not all, but yeah, there's a lot of women.
All right, for the vast majority, the first questions women are asking are those questions. Would you agree or disagree with that? Majority of women are asking, or at least interested, to know, what are you doing? What's your profession? How much money do you make?
Right.
Do you have this? Do you have that?
Right.
Right? So, if that's been the case since the beginning of time, right? Women have always led with, what can you do for me to want to do such and such, such and such, right? So, in knowing that, that's why when I say I disagree, I just disagree that men, our roles haven't really changed. What's expected of us has not really changed. Now, remember we talked about to the things society pushes on us. All right, I don't want to turn this into men versus women, but unfortunately right now it's more so what it is. But y'all are not making more money than men.
Okay.
Like, so all this, I got to take care of this person, or this man lacks leadership. Like, there's still men. The vast majority of men are making more than women.
Yeah.
And those roles and the expectations and the business dynamic, the relationship dynamic has not changed from what's expected of a man. But what has changed? Do you think a woman has increased her expectations over time?
I do think that our expectations have, you know, risen. I agree.
Do you think it's fair that expectations have risen on for a man?
But when I say I think that they changed, I don't think it's necessarily like expecting more money, because now that we can make our own money, it's like that's why we have higher expectations, because we're expecting you to give more than just offer your money. Like, we want that emotional affection, like that emotional connection. We want emotion.
I'm with you. Now I'm gonna do this. You ain't answer the question.
Okay.
All right, and I might have lost it. All right, but the question was, do you has a woman's expectation changed for men, and do you think that's fair?
Yes and yes.
It has changed, and you think it is fair.
Yes.
Now, I'm assuming your reasoning for why, as though you think it is fair for their expectations to change, is because you guys is what you have versus what you don't have has changed. You have more, you got more freedom, you got more money, you got different things, right?
Yeah.
So you feel like your expectations should rise on whomever you're dealing with. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's not about his money. It's more so the opposite. Now that we make our own money, it's like, okay, what else can you bring to the table?
All right. So let's back up for a second.
Okay.
All right. Now, women are making more money than they have in the past, right?
Right.
All right. Do you think that women nowadays? Do you think women back in the day were happy? Let's say 50s.
Mhm. It's
There's no right or wrong on this.
yeah. No, I know. I'd assume I can't see it any different.
Okay. So, all right, basically saying you don't know.
Yeah.
To say. All right. So let's leave that over there. We can't really confirm whether or not women were happy back in the day, but do we think women are happy nowadays? Would it be crazy to ask women to say, hey, let's maybe check the expectations? Let's break it down like this. All right, 1 to 10, were you taught, 1 to 10, were you taught to prioritize education at what level? 1 to 10, prioritizing education meant what to you growing up? 1 to 10.
I'd say like a 8 or 9.
8 or 9. Okay. All right. Taking care of yourself, being able to take care of yourself by any means necessary, 1 to 10. How would you prioritize that?
Growing up, you're asking how?
Yeah, just in general. Yeah. You 22, so.
Yeah. Oh no, I thought you were asking like, cause you said how was that? It's okay.
I'm with you.
Okay, so right now, yeah, I think it's 10. You gotta take care of yourself.
Being able to take care of yourself. All right, 1 to 10. How much was it embedded in you to prioritize relationships and marriage?
I grew up with a single mom, so 3,
3. All right.
Maybe 2.
2 to 3. 2.5.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say family. Prioritizing family, meaning your own kids, meaning your own husband. All right. You were taught to prioritize that 1 to 10 at what rate?
I would say a 10 because I know the husband wasn't necessarily in the picture, but from like my upbringing, kids were a priority.
All right, but remember when I included family though, I didn't just say kids. I said the man. I'm talking about a traditional family, husband, wife, kids. All right, how 1 to 10 were you taught to prioritize that at what level with all of those things combined?
Well, without a dad present, I'd say maybe a 2. But
right.
Just to make it clear, we were well taken care of.
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were. So here's the thing. Now, I think you come across as very curious. I think you had a temperament to have these conversations and actually, I feel like you're actually listening before you respond, right? So what I would ask you to think is we got you at an 8, 9, or 10 for taking care of yourself and prioritizing education. But on the other hand, as far as prioritizing family and marriage and kids and working well with somebody, we're at a 2.
Yeah.
All right. So men's expectations have not really changed. Well, no, I take that back. They've increased. Didn't we say women have higher expectations?
Yeah.
For a man? So we're expecting more of a man, but we're getting less than we're getting less than what women traditionally gave, because traditionally women were not taught to prioritize education or being able to take care of yourself by any means necessary. You was more so, all right, looking at it from, first of all, you needed protection back in the day. In the 60s, you needed to be with somebody to protect you, just strictly from protection.
Yeah.
All right. So look at how this is kind of transformed through time, that we've always had women who prioritize relationship because it was in their best interest. As y'all started to make money, become more free, and have different flexibility, you got away from that. So doesn't it make sense that you're probably lacking relationship skills?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I think both sides are. I do. I think both sides are. I do.
All right. So both sides, that's fine. I don't by any means do I think, I do not, by no means do I think men are perfect.
Right.
And I think men have a large scope of work ahead of them. I think their scope of work is different though. Like life does not play with men.
Yeah.
All right. Life does not play with young men. All right. What do you have a government job,
Yeah.
right? So, and your concentration is more so, I want to say budgeting, you said?
Yeah.
Right. So is that a field that you plan to use for retirement? Like, do you plan to be in that field until it's time to retire?
Nah, I'm only 22, so I'm still figuring things out. It's not my passion for sure, so I don't plan to necessarily be in budget.
I don't think it's. I'm not gonna say women, but just in general, I don't think it's normal for women to be passionate about work. I think it's so much more that y'all have to offer than sit behind a desk, or I think it's so much more to a woman than dedicating significant hours per week to
I
a
agree.
job, as opposed to if I feel like that's when you fully tapped in, right? So again, taking care of yourself, education, we prioritizing 8, 9, and 10, right? But this is what I want women to realize right here and right now. All right. Majority of you, even with the progression that you've made, majority of you cannot afford to be by yourself.
Okay. Can I go back to
Sure.
the point you made really quick? So you said you feel like women aren't made to be, working behind a desk or to be passionate about working. But do you think that women could be passionate about hobbies?
I know women can be passionate about hobbies.
And I feel like in today's age, that's kind of what we're doing. So it is hard. I agree with you completely that it's hard for us to get corporate jobs or to make as much as men in corporate jobs. So I feel like we're starting to see a new approach where a lot of women are taking those passions, whether it's beauty, whether it's content creation, whatever it may be, and they're using that to, take off in their career.
100%. Now, women are passionate about hobbies. Are women passionate about relationships?
I think every woman wants a relationship. I do. Genuinely, as
Alright.
emotional creatures, right? I think that we crave a healthy relationship, having, a partner to go through life with, to experience highs and lows. Like, that's how we are. Like, you agree that we're emotional, right? And that's that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but
No, I'm with you. Now, no, I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna take a strike.
That
And
was
then
a warning?
so we'll go through it with the panel, and the panel will decide whether or not it's warranted or whatnot. But what I asked you was, are women passionate about relationships? Your response was you do think women want relationships. But the problem with that is, all right, wanting a relationship as opposed to act like you actually need a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not really. I hate. Let me explain. No, you do need a relationship. I want to get back to the math and why most women. Why most women need a relationship. They're not approaching it on a need basis.
Right.
They're approaching it from the want basis. This is not something you can, I'll decide. Like, it's a pretty big difference in the trajectory of your life when you carry it that way. And these are things that we need to start talking about. Because I'll never tell somebody or tell a woman, look, this is what you need to do and you better do it.
Right.
No. But what I'll say is, all right, based on what you share with me and what your expectations are and what you want, all right, that's not lining up with how you gonna get it.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm gonna go back to my question. Do you think women are passionate about relationships equivalent to whatever passion they share for their hobbies?
Yes.
You think they're passionate about relationships?
I do. There's so many women who will give up their passion to pursue a man that they're with. Does it always work out? No. And then, I feel like everything after that comes from their experience. So say it doesn't work out. Now they're probably going to be more likely to be like, F him. Like, when the next guy comes around, it's going to be more likely to be like, F him. I'm not giving up something I love. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like so much stems from the things that we've been through. So naturally, I feel like, yes, like, women are passionate, if not more, about relationships.
You think? Oh, okay. All right,
their
cool.
passion.
No, that's fine. So I don't want to sway. You know what I'm saying? You have your opinion, but I also want you to be open, as I'm gonna challenge myself to be open as well. All right. Now, let's talk about. You think women passionate about education?
Yeah.
All right. How long does it take you to get a degree?
Can I take that back, actually?
Go
I
ahead.
don't, actually.
What?
I don't think women are passionate about education. I think we do it because, that's what's expected of us now, growing up. Like we talked about.
Who was expecting you to have
Like,
education?
growing up, you remember how I said, like, my family, I feel like it was a lot. Like, it was like an 8 or 9 for, like, how important it is to go to school and get a good job. So I feel like a lot of women might be in school not because they want to be there, but because they don't want to disappoint their family or disappoint, people who have been telling them, like, school's the right way.
Okay. Let's remove passionately from it. Let's just talk about the work that goes into whatever we talking about.
Okay.
All right. Women want education, or women are working towards education, right or wrong.
Right.
How long does it take to how long post high school does it take to get a degree in most cases?
About 4 years, 5 years.
4 to 5 years. All right. Does it take money?
Of course.
All right. So with education comes debt in most cases, student loan debt. All right. So right then and there, if you prioritizing it at an 8, 9, and 10, taking care of yourself, there are decisions made, all right, to the point where you want to invest not only your time but your money into getting those things. Now, I asked you on the other end of the spectrum whether or not women are passionate about relationships. Are women investing time and money to the same degree as they do with getting their degrees with a relationship?
No.
All right.
I can speak on that personally. I'm guilty of that, not making time for whoever I'd be dealing with at the time. And my excuse was, I have homework to do. Like, I get that all the time. So.
Right. So regardless, what I want women to realize is you're making a conscious decision to prioritize this over that. Right or wrong is up for debate. What you should do is what you should or shouldn't do is up for debate. But you're not doing it. You're not prioritizing relationships. What comes with people not prioritizing relationships? Not being in relationships. All right. Now, what's your nationality?
Black and white.
So you black and white. All right. So I'll use on the black and side, for the majority of the men you deal with, the black and white.
Black.
All right. So in the black community, all right, women marry 1 in 4 at a 1 in 4 rate. 26%, I want to say, is the exact number. All right, 26% of black women end up married at some point in their lifetime. All right, you know who's second to last?
Who?
White women. But you know what their rate is?
How much?
54%,
Okay.
which is more than double the rate of who?
Black people.
Black women. All right. Now, this is by no means to bash, black women, but we don't have communities right now.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that we lack. We're dead last in wealth. We're dead last in crime and not gonna say college, but we're dead last in crime and poverty as well, right? So, what do you think stems from that? The lack of relationships. All right. So I kind of want to get back to women control sex, men control marriage, right? At the end of the day, a man gets to choose. The truth of the matter is a man gets to choose who he marries, all right? And if let's say we both just forget it. Y'all fend for yourself, we'll fend for ourselves. All right? Who do you think lives a better, most fulfilling and comforting life, men or women? If we all took that approach, if all of us took the approach of, look, we don't need y'all don't need us. We out here by ourselves, for ourselves. Who do you think will live a more fulfilling and better life, men or women?
I guess men with the finances situation, they're gonna have an upper hand in that area.
Okay.
We can make stuff work, but
Can you? How can you make stuff work?
We gonna have to figure something out. It's gonna be difficult, but we gonna have to figure it out.
All right, and I respect that. All right, but the point of the show, if I'm being authentic, is I want people to wake up. The truth of the matter is there is no figuring it out. My grandmother died in one of the worst hoods in Baltimore. Nobody knew about it for days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? But it's not that crazy. Like, it's actually becoming the norm. If you don't have somebody in the house with you, you do reach 60. Who has a longer life expectancy, men or women?
Women, I believe.
Women by far.
Yeah.
All right? So you want somebody taking care of you at age 60, 65.
Yeah.
All right? You want a family, all right, sustaining relationships. I'm really big on sustaining all relationships, husband, wife, cousin to cousin, brother to sister, family, friends. I'm really big on sustaining relationships.
Right, I agree. Me too.
All right. So with all of that being said, the point of this is not a game y'all want to play.
Oh yeah, I don't think anybody wants to play it.
No, I'm with you, and you come across so mild in comparison to most women, and I want, because here if I had to lay it out for you, this is my opinion. My opinion. Number one, you 22, so you're just beginning your prime.
Right.
All right. My advice to you, I would highly advise when you date with intention, because your window is smaller than men's.
Right.
All right. How many children do you want?
About two,
About
maybe
2
3.
children. All right. Ideally, how old would you like to be to have children?
I'd say like late 20s.
Late 20s to have your first.
Yeah, because I compete in pageants, so some systems don't allow you to have children. So, if I didn't have children, if I wasn't competing in pageants, probably like 25, 26, but 28, I'd say around 28.
All right, so we can we can see that you constantly making a decision like, look, because of my pageantry, which is fine by all means, all right? But because due to pageantry, you're going to delay your motherhood, right? Now, we talked about OBGYNs, geriatric pregnancy at age 35. So you basically closed your window up, which is fine,
Right.
But realize, what comes with that.
Right.
So you're going to have a smaller window to build a family, build a husband. Now, while you're prioritizing pageantry, what are you doing to obtain new relationship skills?
Well, I'm always like trying to better. I'm big on emotional intelligence, so like
Okay.
I always am trying to work on things that, like, I know I'm very sensitive, if that makes sense. Like, I know that's a problem with me, so I'm always trying to work on things within myself to be better to approach when I'm like dealing with anybody, if
Okay.
that makes sense. So
Okay.
I'm just always trying to improve myself. And just to go back to the dating thing.
Dating with
the
intention?
dating thing, not the dating thing, my bad. The children thing. My ideal age would actually be, I think, like 25 or 26. So I said 28 because usually that's the cutoff for like the age for competing. But I plan on winning before that.
Okay.
So that's not, 28 is not ideal for me. It would be like 25, 26.
And that's fine. All right. The point that I'm trying to make is no matter what you decide to do,
Right.
there's something that's going to come with it. If you have the baby early, what is that taken away from?
Pageantry.
If you have the baby late, what is that taken away from?
The ability to get pregnant fast or sooner.
Relationships. I mean, it takes a relationship to have the baby, right?
Yeah.
Because as a part of the vetting system, do you honestly think, well, let me ask you, when you deal with a man in today's day and age, now you 22, you got time, but it's you first quarter, it's first quarter, right? So if you have the baby early, it takes away from pageantry. If you have the baby later, it doesn't necessarily take away or disqualify you
Right.
from the family life, but it does make it a lot harder, right? So the point that I'm trying to make, again, it's all choices and trade-offs. At some point, you're gonna have to decide what's important to you and what you want to do.
But do you feel like a relationship has to be, I know children play a huge role, but do you think that relationships have to be all about having kids? So if I meet somebody and we're a good fit, just because we don't have the kids right away, it could still work like in a few years. Like maybe we're ready for kids in a few years. You know what I mean?
Well, let's talk about what man you would prefer. All right. So if we're talking about a man that you would prefer, all right, how much money does a man have to make, or in an ideal preferable situation, how much money would you like a man to make around age 25, 26? Who do what's the income level you plan to be dealing with?
Right. At 25 or 26, I'm hoping at least 50K. I'm really big on just knowing that you're trying to better your life. That's big. That's big for me.
And I'll give you that. I won't take that away from you. But in terms of what we're answering, I want you to iron down a number and don't put any, because what it allows you to do is say, hey, look, I'll take this much with the expectation of an increase and no increase. All right, because if you get a man making $50,000, you got a man making $50,000. Now, bettering yourself and all that, I mean, I don't really want to get into that because that's a two-way street, But if you have a man, the average man makes $52,000. So we basically talking about the average man at this point, which I agree more people need to stop more women need to stop automatically overlooking with quote unquote average men.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, are you fine with the 50,000 number?
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I look for stuff deeper.
Okay. Okay. So
Because I feel like 25 is still kind of young. So it's like, again, what are you actually doing with yourself if you're stopping at 50K? Like, you know what I mean? Like, at 25 and your income's not going up at all. Like, I'm going to still take, like, I'm still cool with 50K. Like, that, the 50K doesn't matter to me. But my thing is, I feel like, to me, a bum is somebody who's just content with where they are and are not trying to get better. Like, you're just okay and never trying to be better. And I feel like if you're just, especially if money is an issue, right? And we are struggling, you're just like, oh, well, I'm okay with my 50K. That's when it kind of becomes a problem. And obviously I know I'd have to step up.
okay. Now, just in general, just so you know, because I deal with, like, literally any application I take, there's an entire employment section. All right. What I want you to kind of take into account is professions do have caps, right? Or jobs do have caps. You have low-level labor workers, with no disrespect to anybody, but that's the McDonald's and the Burger Kings of the world. All right, it's only but so much you can grow. If you get compensated based off your skill set.
Yeah.
All right. So once a man starts making money at 50,000, how many children do you want?
2.
You said 2, right? All right. So we talking about a family of 4 in which preferable city? Give me maybe 1 or 2 cities or states that you would like to live in.
Savannah, Georgia, or Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right. Those are decent cost of living states, right? Not too high, not too low. All right. So now, are you working?
Yes.
All right. At all times, you're responsible for what percentage of the bills? At all times.
Oh, we're talking like.
Ideally, in this, because I asked you your preferable situation, you said 50,000. So this is preferable to you. So what do you? How much of the bills, the important bills, mortgage, rent?
Wait, you said preferably.
Yeah, I said preferable. In your preferable ideal situation.
Oh, if I had okay, so I guess what I was trying, can we take it back real quick?
That's fine.
So, preferably 6 figures.
6 figures,
Six
okay.
figures.
Now, 6 figures means 100,000 and 999,000, close to $1 million. So give me a number.
At least 100K.
100,000.
Yeah.
That's a preferable situation for you.
That's
Preferable. Yep. That's fine. And there's nothing. There's no wrong or right answer.
Yeah, I said 50K because it's not like a huge deal breaker if he's making 50K for me. You get what I'm saying?
But that's an entire different lifestyle, though.
Yeah, it is.
Do you want a certain lifestyle?
I do, but if I had to settle for like a lesser lifestyle.
Let me stop you though, because the problem with the term settling is you're not going to attack this relationship that you settle for versus the situation that you prefer the same way. There's no way that you're going to attack a relationship with the same intention and the same aggressive nature to make it work if you feel like you're settling. Settling is such a dangerous word, right? Because if you feel like you're settling, do you feel all right? If you're settling for a man that makes 50,000 versus getting a man that makes 500,000, are you attacking the relationship the same?
I can only speak for myself. Am I tackling it the same? Yeah, no, I'll say no.
Thank you, because most women not, and that's fair though. Like we get that, right? We get that.
It's just so hard speaking because like my views I feel like are so different. You get what I'm saying? So like yes, I definitely get what you're saying. Like as far as like the 50K versus the 500K, but it's just so hard because it's like there's so much other things that I personally look for. You know, so like focusing like right in on the money makes it hard for me to like.
But all right, but the reason why I tie it into money is because it's safe to say, all right, that there's levels to everything.
Yeah.
All right, and the relationship dynamic is going to be different depending on who you're dealing. If you're dealing with somebody that make 500,000, it's totally different rules than somebody that make 50,000. So that's why it matters.
Right.
Right. So in a preferable situation, we'll just even you out at 100,000. What percentage of the bills do you want to absolutely be responsible for throughout the life of the family, the longevity of the family?
None.
All right, 0. All right, 100,000 in Savannah, Georgia, or Charlotte
But I would.
is going to be it's going to be tight on a man. It's going to be tight on a man that make 100,000. It's going to take extreme budgeting. Fortunately, you're pretty good at that.
I'm great at budgeting.
Right. It's going to take extreme budgeting. All right. Would you like to travel?
Yeah. I love traveling.
All right. Give me maybe 2 or 3 places you'd like to travel to. First to come to your head.
Italy, Denmark, Greece.
Those are the kids coming?
Maybe for one.
Maybe for one?
Maybe
All
for
right.
one, I can say
Those are those are $7,000 to $15,000 trips. All right. 50,000 gross is more so 30 to 37,000 maybe net. Right. So let's just give it 37,000 net.
For how much was the gross?
50, because you said 50.
Yeah.
No. Let's keep it consistent. We'll stay at 100. We'll stay at 100. So 100. Let's say 80 to 83,000 or so, give or take gross. All right. So, I mean, are we talking about traveling yearly? Are we talking about traveling quarterly, every month?
A big trip once a year. A small trip
Every
3 to 4 months.
All right.
So
Every
like
3
maybe
to
go
4.
to the beach like a few hours away.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So we like to travel. Do you like to shop?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I can shop.
Does it matter to you for your kids to have this over that, like whether it be clothing, whether it be games, whether it be
Yeah.
that matters to you?
Yeah.
All right. Big, medium, small house, does that matter to you?
Medium. Medium.
Medium.
If it's like 4 of us, at least medium.
All right. So we got to backtrack a little bit because 100,000 is not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. 80,000 net, right? And we're taking, and we've only talked travel expenses. Travel expenses are going to accumulate to, you said every 3 to 4 months, a small trip. Let's just say that's anywhere between 2 to 4 grand. We'll say 3 grand. And then one big trip, let's call it 3 grand. All right. We're talking 5 trips in total.
Well, you remember how I said earlier how women are like making money from their passions?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a lot of passions. So if I can, I can pay for the trips. That's fine.
All right. That's fine and fair, but here's the thing. All right. When we say the percentage of the bills you want to have to be responsible for, the only way to look at that is what's going to be sustained, like what's going to actually sustain the family. So if you have the icing on the cake money, fine. But from what you signed up for was 0 though. So we don't, your income is an unknown variable, right? Because the family technically don't need it, right? So what we know needs to happen for the family to stay afloat is he has to make 100%. He has to pay for 100% of the bills at 100 grand, right?
And
So
this is preferably.
yeah, and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm with you. I want to kind of talk these things through because number one, you're young, right? So, being responsible for a mortgage and a car and insurances and children and childcare expenses and credit cards and installment, like these are all things that you're going to be walking into.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm trying to tell you, if anything else, just trust that 100,000 not going to be enough. All right. As a matter of fact, people that make about 100,000, that's usually the sweet spot for the people who have the most debt, because you think you got money, but you really don't got no money. All right. You don't have housewife money at 100,000, not in Charlotte. Right. So whether one may agree or disagree, I think a safer number for you to be able to do all of those things that we talked about, that's going to be more the $175,000, $200,000 range. Now we got to ask ourselves, we know what Jordan wants, right? Jordan wants kids. Jordan wants a family. Jordan wants to be able to travel. Jordan wants to be able to shop.
That sounds like the life.
It sounds pretty lit, right? And Jordan does not want the financial pressure of being able to have to pay a single bill. But that's fine though. That's fine with a lot of men.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's ask ourselves, what does a man like that want in return from a woman? All right. What do you think a man wants from a man like that? What does he want from a woman?
I think he wants support and somebody who's going to take care of the children.
Okay.
In the household.
All right. Anything else? So here's my thing. Taking care of the children, I would like. Well, I think most men would like a woman to prioritize that,
Yeah.
for it to be very
For
important
sure.
to you.
Yeah.
All right. Second, support is subjective. So you can feel like you support me. I may want you to support me in another way or different ways, or just don't feel support at all.
Right.
So it's not really, it's no real guarantees. And what a man like that wants some guarantees before he sets somebody up and to live the housewife lifestyle.
Right.
Especially a life of luxury, because that's what you described, right? So I'm not going to take credit for this. I've been studying this for the last, I would say, about 2 years. I call him the Godfather. You know what I'm talking about. But he did a breakdown of what was widely considered as a high value woman. All right, I want to walk through that with you. Number one, attractive and appealing. All right, attractive and appealing to the mind, the body, and spirit of the man and whoever she comes in contact with. All right, just because you're pretty, just because you're bad, all right, doesn't necessarily mean that you might have got the attractive box check, but it's a combination of attractive and appealing.
Gotcha.
I mean, like, someone has to appeal to you. It's going to be more to just, it's going to be more than just looks.
Right.
Right. Second,
I'm glad that y'all see us as more than looks.
100%. Comfort and character. All right. Now, this is a term that I'll describe. Comfort and character comes more so into play with that man, children, and the family. It goes against all masculinity. All right. When you get the baby, does the baby stop crying?
Yeah.
Right. When a man comes home from a hard day at work, is it a comforting feel to the house? Can he vent? Can he get his back rubbed?
Yeah.
Does he come home to a plate? Especially if you're not working.
Right.
Right. Does he come home to a clean house? A lot of men suffer with organization. Do you help keep? Hey, babe, remember you're supposed to do such and such tomorrow. Like, those things go a long way. So that's what I mean by comfort and character.
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
Working, I feel like if you're not working, that's the least you could do.
So we said attractive and appealing. Does that's pretty self-explanatory? You think? All right, being attractive but also having an appealing personality. People want to be around you. Comfort and character. All right. Can people do men, do children, do family? All right. Do they feel that feminine energy that allows comfort?
Right.
All right. Something that resembles somewhat of a mother or whatever the case may be. All right. Do you bring that to the table? Number 3, discernment and discipline. All right. Discernment meaning good judgment. All right. Where those things come into play. All right. Where those things come into play is, do you have good judgment with the amount of men that you've dealt with, or the specific men that you've dealt with, the places that you go in, the company that you keep, the friends that you keep?
Right.
Do you have a decent level of discernment? Right? Do you have a decent level of judgment that would prevent problematic situations?
Right.
Right? Then on the opposite end, well, not necessarily opposite, but what goes hand in hand with that is discipline. All right, are you disciplined enough to, even though something may seem fun, what coincides with fun? Happiness, right? This whole thing of, well, we want to be happy, Well, that don't mean you just get to have unlimited fun, and as long as you're not having unlimited fun, it's not worth it. All right, to stick it out in a relationship or be with somebody. No, do you have the discipline enough to take on the sacrifice of what comes with a family, or are you more does pleasure come more so from the fun things? But when you do the fun things, just know what you're giving up. But if people don't get anything else, just know you can't have both.
Right.
You can't have unlimited fun and live the family life.
Right.
Especially if a man is going hand in hand with you, he's gonna have his own program, his own restrictions that y'all have full discussions on what works versus what doesn't, what's allowable versus what's not. All right, and that can go both ways. All right, but do you see the discernment and the judgment aspect of it?
Yeah, I think,
Looking at her friends, the place she going, her presentation. All right.
Do you feel like men need to have that too, though?
So the concept
As a leader?
The concept around high value men we can get into right after this.
Okay.
All right, and you tell me what you agree versus what you disagree with. But I want you to, we can literally say, but aren't they supposed to do that with everything? Like, whenever I say something women should be doing, you'll always be able to say, well, aren't men supposed to do it too?
I think this one specifically because it's like talking about like discipline and judgment. And as a leader,
No,
feel
you
like
1000% need discipline. You cannot get
Yeah.
anywhere as a man without this.
Right.
Like, you make the most money, you get the most throughout life with discipline. So I'll give you that. Yeah.
Right.
All right, but we gotta stay on the topic though of what defines a high value woman. Appealing, attractive, confident character, discernment, and discipline. Do you disagree with any of those things? That those are things that are not. They don't come in the package.
No, I agree.
You know, a lot of times right now. All right. The next one, enthusiastic and exuberant. All right, you know what enthusiasm means. All right, that means, again, let's take it to a man that's coming home from a long day of work, whether he makes 40 or 400. All right, are you enthusiastic? Are you excited? Are you happy to see him? Right? Does he feel that? All right, is there any exuberance around it? You know, the Drake, one of my favorite songs, that Pipe Down Drake. The way you talk, the way you see Chanel, I wish that's how you saw me. The way you want you to be just as excited as you are with your friends.
Right.
All right, so relationships, we have not showed more so recently in this modern era the ability to be with somebody and
Right.
be in relationships. So if it sounds unfamiliar to you, or if it's like, that's probably a good thing. Like, because we know we're not doing it right.
Right.
So we shouldn't we shouldn't hate holding on to everything that we was taught if we was taught the bullshit. Right? So these are all things, and you are very open-minded about it, and we can have this discussion, and it's healthy, you know, like I said, with the communication standpoint. But again, let's get back to, you get where I'm coming from on the enthusiasm and the exuberance.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like women want to feel like that too, you know? I hope so.
Yeah,
I would hope
but-
so.
Yeah, but again, we can all, like,
Yeah.
right now, like, we have to be able to just talk about what men want for. Like,
Yeah.
we have to be able to just talk about what men want.
Yeah.
Because we talked about men controlling relationships. So again, we're always going to be able to say, but I think women want to. I think, like, y'all
No,
had
I
your
wasn't
turn.
saying it like that though. I was just saying in general, I think that's a good thing, like that a woman is excited for her man. That's what I was
All right,
getting at.
exact. So that right there would, what women got to understand is, if there is a good union, right, there's a certain level of inspiration that comes along with that. Like, if you putting these things into a man, like, I know it just sounds like, wow, man, got to get all of this, and they're like, and that might sound like a little turn offish, but if you have a man that's out there on the forefront, and you put that battery in his back, and he comes home and he's allowed to be him and allowed to release and recharge for the next day in the best environment, you're going to get more. The family's going to get more.
Right.
Like, y'all have that power. Men, I don't think, like, men don't necessarily have that power with
Right.
women. Y'all have that power over us. Men do things out of love. You ever want to see a man act crazy? Money or women? Those are the two things that get men to start making really brash decisions. So y'all have that power, and trying to be individuals, trying to take care of yourself, just realize you're not that inspirational. You know what I'm saying? You're inspirational when you fully tapped into, again, your feminine energy. So being enthusiastic, being exuberant like that really gets a man ego going. Like, my girl happy to see me when I come home. I don't know about y'all. I don't know what y'all dealing with. But nah, my shit is tight. Food when I come home. All right. She reminded me about this. We organized, you know, the bills are paid. You know, she brings certain things to my attention that I don't even think about. Smart and like, there's things like that. Life is good too.
I agree. I like
Right.
that. I like that.
And to wrap it up with the enthusiastic and exuberance, all right, is loyalty and liberating. All right. Now, women want that too. Right. But again, if we talking about what men want, obviously men love the idea of a loyal woman. All right. And loyalty has diminished more and more and more on both sides, to where it's almost a default that everybody gonna be cheating.
Right.
Right. Everybody gonna be cheating. But with loyalty and liberation, that just that clears a man's head, all right, to be free to really tackle the challenges in today's world. In the world that I live in my profession, what I do know, whether people want to agree with it or not, what I do know is people don't take life serious. All right. And also what I know is people don't think things through. You know what I'm saying? Like, through loyalty, through liberation, if a man's head is clear and he's able to focus on the task at hand and have a true productive 10 to 12 hour day, all right, because it don't just got to be in the corporate world, all right, we talk about business owners. To sustain a business that makes $50,000 takes a lot of work.
Right.
$50,000. Like I'm looking at tax returns, individual personal tax returns, S corps, 1040s, the whole nine. Like when people say they got businesses, I'm looking, all right, wait, is it an LLC? Is it an S corp? What are you claiming after expenses are written out? Like I look at it from a different lens, right? So no matter what walk of life you coming from, whatever brings in the income, at the level that women say that they want, it's going to require a lot of work. All right, is it too much for a man to ask to have a clear mind? Look, I don't want to have to worry about if my girl being loyal.
I agree.
What a man can accomplish with all of those things, with a woman who brings all of those things to the table versus not, is completely different. All right, so those are the things again that I feel like that I agree with. This is not my ideas.
Right.
All right, I'm using the exact words of I'm gonna give him his flowers, Kevin Samuels. All right, Godfather, rest in peace.
Yours are similar though. I remember yours.
Right. So, do you disagree with any of those things? Do you think men would not appreciate? I'll ask the audience if there's any man that says he doesn't want a woman that's appealing and attractive, and or has comforting character, and or loyal and liberating, and or shows exuberance and enthusiasm. Exuberance and enthusiasm, and or has a woman that shows good discernment and discipline.
Right.
Those are all. That's a good formula for a good woman.
Yeah.
Right. And you know the good news is just because you don't check one box don't mean that doesn't make you a high value woman. As a matter of fact, if you're enthusiastic and exuberant, you get a pass, really. Like if you're not really the most attractive or appealing, or if you're not really the most, if you've had bad judgment in the past, people make mistakes on both sides. Like it's
gonna boost y'all's ego.
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, I'm that man.
Exactly. So we don't need it all.
Right.
But if we talking about what's widely considered as what men would appreciate, I would challenge most men to tell me you don't want somebody that's appealing and attractive and all those different things.
Right.
All right. So those are what I feel like most men could consider to be, again, a high value woman.
Okay.
All right.
So what do you think are the traits for a high value man?
Okay. So a high value man, I got to be careful. Again, this isn't my idea. It's through my research, my studies. All right. But there is a concept behind the high value man. It's not Kevin Samuels' thing. It was around since the beginning. Well, I'm not going to say the beginning of the time, but it's been around for a long time. So what they would say is a man that makes $10,000 minimum every month.
And I'm sorry, where'd you say this came from? Like who defined it?
I got it from Kevin Samuels.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. But high value is just a general concept, right? So we got the importance behind categorizing, because some people, if they're not in that box, if some people don't fit in that box, then they're going to take offense to it. But we have to be able to categorize things to have a conversation and label who's. If we say everybody's great, everybody's perfect, everybody's high value, what are we even talking about? Right. We got to be able to pinpoint it. So I think you tell me if women consider these things to be a high value man. All right, there's going to be a money aspect to it. I say 10,000 minimum. Well, from what was told, 10,000 minimum. That's about $120,000 a year, and that's adjusting based on the metropolitan. If you're in Cali versus Mississippi, that's completely different. You make $10,000 in Mississippi every month, you probably rich. If you make $10,000 in California, you might have a roommate. Right. So adjust it based on the setting. All right, but number one, again, is money. All right, number two is the idea of how long you've made that money. All right, making it for at least 3 to 5 years plus. All right, anybody can have a good year. All right, next being having a network of other high value men. All right, so I can call on, like, we'll bring on the panel and you guys will see VPs, entrepreneurs, sustained entrepreneurs, entertainers, athletes even. Just different professions, right? So again, a network of other high value men. All right. Also being useful to the group. All right. Utility. So can we get something done with you at the helm? Like, can you initiate, look, if we want to come up with a nonprofit, can you put these things in place? All right. Well, I know a guy here. I know a guy there. Again, kind of going back to the network thing, but just being useful to a group of people. All right. And then finally, all right, is group acceptance. Like, it's visible that you are a high value man outside of serious inquiries,
Right.
DM me. No. Like something either at the LinkedIn level or something, whether it be throughout whatever industry you are, you're unanimously recognized as somebody at the top of their game, right? Do
Okay.
you disagree with any of those things, or can you see how that can somewhat shape a high value
I
man?
can see it.
Is
Do you
that
think?
go
Do you
ahead.
think protection, like in the modern day, I feel like that's a big one for what women look for in a man.
I think protection goes hand in hand with submission. Like I feel like every woman leading into a relationship or going into a relationship should have more times than not a certain level of submissiveness, and I feel like every man should take protection, uh, or value and make sure that protection is something that they prioritize out of a relationship, no matter what the dynamic is. I don't care if you make $1 million and I make 50,000. Like I, as a man, I need to be able to protect you,
Yep.
right?
I agree.
So you can, so protection, and submissiveness go hand in hand. That's at the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just talking high value right now. Any other? Is there any questions you got for me?
So yeah, I do have questions for you.
All right, what you got?
First, I want to start with: do you feel like a woman should have to submit to a man who makes just as much money or less money than she's making?
Yes. I feel like a woman should come into every relationship with a certain level of submission because, I mean, it requires humility, right? Now, what you got to ask yourself, if you have a problem with that, cool. But what type of man you going to get without any submission? You got alpha males, you got beta males, right? There's certain things you get with an alpha, there's certain things you get with a beta, right? Now, I'll leave it up to the public. I'll leave it up to the public to decide who you are,
Right.
right? But let's say if a man, we know if a man makes $1 billion, you're gonna go into it with a certain level of submission. That's
most
probably
women-
universal with most
women.
women, right? You're gonna come in with a certain level, and you'd be crazy not to, if you ask me. All right. Now, that kind of gets back to what women look for in a man. If it's so without question that the more money you have, you get submission, you're just basically saying you have not you, but women, if you have a problem with that, you're saying you got lower and lower respect for men based off the amount of money that they make.
Right.
High value men have to start here regardless, unless it was inherited or unless it was given. But if you're getting it out of the mud, I got to start here.
Right.
All right. So, Mark Cuban,
I don't.
owner of the Dallas Mavericks, he's on Shark Tank, multi-millionaire.
Oh, okay, I know
like
who Mark
Mark
is.
Cuban, he was broke at 27, living. He'll tell you living in his car, homeless at 27 years old.
It's crazy.
Right. So high value, you have to start.
Yeah.
The more challenges you accept, the more rock bottom you feel.
Right.
Right. So if y'all going into it like really just your meter is based off what we bring in financially, you're gonna skip over the building part for a lot of men.
Yeah.
Right. So if we know that, is it really that hard for women to humble themselves and say, hey, look, whether or not, I don't care how much money you make, I understand my role in a relationship and the way things were intended. Don't let religion get into it, because if we talking Christianity, whatever the case may be, like, yes, submission comes. Submission comes. Now, let's actually just address it head on. If you don't feel like you need to be submissive because you make more money than the next man, what type of relationship do you want? Do you want a man does he still have to provide?
He's not gonna be providing more. I feel like, I feel like both parties are gonna be providing. But no, I feel like
But will he have to protect?
yes.
All right. If we laid up, somebody come in and rob the house. All right, who's expected to defend the house?
The man.
There's certain things that's just non-negotiable.
Right.
Right. So who's supposed to defend the house?
The man.
All right. Well, if he make $20,000 a year or $2 million a year, somebody come in there that we don't know. I got to get in front of that bullet. There's certain things that I just know comes with a relationship as a man. All right. So what is it that upsets women or decentivizes women to want to be submissive in the first place? Like, all right, you make more money. So, meaning you're willing to go into a situation saying, all right, look, I'm with somebody that I make more money than.
Yeah.
But are we doing it just so we don't have to submit?
I don't know. Maybe it could be so.
Okay.
My submission, speaking for me, comes from character. Like, I will submit to you if, like I said, I feel like I admire you and I respect you. I'm gonna submit. You get what I'm saying?
I'm with you. Let me go ahead and hit you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. This a warning, though. It's a warning. It's a warning. It's a warning.
Did I get any positives? You ain't give me no positives.
You only got 1 strike taken off out of 9. Like
I'm doing okay.
you're doing great,
All right.
right? You got all your strikes.
I'll take it.
But I'm gonna point out why I'm gonna give you a warning there, is because that's technically a contradiction. Because if you're saying that money matters,
No, I'm not saying that. That's my thing. Money doesn't matter much to me.
All
It's
right.
ideal for a man to have money for me, but I will choose a man who brings me, and I know people are gonna hate me for this, including you, but I'm gonna choose a man who's gonna like bring me security, as in like emotionally. Oh, I know I just like people are gonna hate me for that, but emotionally, and like where I like to feel safe, like, and I don't mean just jumping in front of a bullet for me, but feeling safe with just being in his presence, being who I am, being completely comfortable being me. You get what I'm saying? That I feel like allows me just to want to give him everything, want to submit to him, want to do everything to keep this man happy, because that's what he's bringing me.
and I believe you 100%. I believe that 100%. I truly do. Let's take it back to money for a second. All right. Let's talk about you. All right. Obviously, character is important to you. All right. I commend you for that. But would you, for 1 second, think that you can go into a relationship where a man makes $1 billion and not be submissive?
And not be something. Of course, yeah. Of course, he's gonna.
It is not going to work.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's also think about the question you asked.
Right.
The question you asked is, if I make more money or if a woman makes more money than whomever she's dealing with, all right, should she have to be submissive? So it was tied into money within the question, right? So I get what you're saying. Character matters, and it matters more so than money, but we can't ignore the fact that money matters, because it's coming out of women's mouth. All right, women know going into it, look, it's certain men certain men you can't play that shit with. All right, and there's certain men that you might be able to get away with it with. I mean, I can't tell you how many women I talk to talking about, yeah, I was paying all of the bills, I was cooking and cleaning, and I'm like, all right, well, you know what that tells me? It tells me you're comfortable in control. You're only comfortable leading. You cannot get the men that requires followership. So you try to take advantage and strip the average men of their masculinity, which I don't think is really deserving. So now let's move along for those things. I showed you a video, right? And I want to get your feedback. I'll play it for the audience. All right, we'll play the audio.
Yes, you are.
I'm not gonna drive.
So what you gonna do?
I'm gonna drive to your house and you gonna get out.
I'm not getting out.
Yes, you are.
If I put this dick in my mouth, I'm not
Just put it in your
getting
motherfucking car.
out the motherfucking car.
Yeah. Don't pick your mouth.
But in the morning, I will Uber home.
Mm-mm.
So when I put this dick in my mouth, your
You
ass
put it in
better
your
start.
mouth just 'cause you gonna
You
put it
may
in
as well
your mouth.
motherfucking start driving to your house.
No, it's
Because
not.
I'm not getting the fuck
I'm gonna
out.
drive to that house.
I'm not getting out. Drive me.
I'm not gonna drive.
Drag me. 'Cause I'm not. Drag me. I'm not getting the fuck out. I'm not playing. I don't know what you thought this was. You do that.
I'm starting to be worried. Like, I'm starting to get worried.
About what?
Like, what do I have to do for you to get out of the car?
What I'm asking is, all I want is closure. You're saying you're done, right? And I'm saying, is it because I said I wanted to give you head? Like, what the fuck is the problem?
I don't want any of it.
Okay, well,
I want to get to my people's house.
okay, and so all I'm asking is that why you're done with me?
No. No,
Because-
because I wanted to get to my people's house a long time ago, and I've wasted several hours for no reason.
Okay, so that's what you're done.
Yeah, and my time has been short and slim for the last 2 weeks, and I've spent 8 hours going back and forth with you about this. I'm not doing it no more.
Okay.
When you heard what you heard, what comes to mind? What are you thinking?
So I'm thinking the girl's not taking you serious at all. But I felt like you were also egging it on a little bit so that she couldn't take you serious. But she was not trying to get out the car. Like, you were asking her to leave. And you were calm. So I give you that. You were definitely calm. And you did repeat yourself multiple times asking her to leave. And she didn't listen. So, like, girl, just get out the car. But, no, I could see why she might have thought you were joking. And that's probably why she wasn't taking you serious.
Okay. All right. I don't have a problem with any of that. All right. I appreciate your feedback. But it's so more serious than that. So here's what I'll say. A lot of people, when they see that video, they're going to think, look, this is just another guy trying to act like, you know, or show a woman being head over heels, acting crazy for him, just like more of an ego thing. But if I'm being honest with you, all right, and if I'm being honest with the audience, I've been accused of rape before. I've been accused of rape at the height of my career. When everything started to come together for me, I was accused of rape. And the only thing that saved me was having proof. So ever since that day, I always record when things start to get uncomfortable. I have plenty of videos like that on my phone. Honest to God.
No, it's smart.
So you got to think of the mental psyche of a man who's been through that, right? If I know that at the height of my career, like actual work, blood, sweat, and tears that went in trying to get myself in a position to play in the NFL, right? And then someone's unhappy with the way I treated our sexual interaction after the case, all right, to where as though you wanted to put me in jail and rid me of all the things that I worked hard for. All it takes is an accusation nowadays. Like, there's no penalty for lying, you know? And I know people automatically gonna look at it in the first light, you know, of me just showing, you know, a woman being crazy over me, this, that, and the third. But like I said, I've made a habit to always record,
Right.
you know, if I feel like a conversation is being uncomfortable. And as you heard, drag me.
Right.
All right. I'm not getting the fuck out. You might as well stop driving to your house. All right. So when I'm hearing these words, like if it's coming across playfully, all right, I know that how many times when we have conversations about relationships, women talk about how men are abusive, controlling, and real super dangerous situations. I'm sure you had your fair share of dangerous situations, but men have their fair share of dangerous situations. Imagine if I responded. Now what was she offering? She was offering head, which is my favorite, if I'm being honest. Right? She's offering head, but to have that discipline to say, look, you know what? You're a little off. You're a little off. I gotta remove my situation. Now I don't want the head. All right. That takes a lot from a man, and to keep my cool in the midst of, I'm telling you to get out of my car.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm gonna go back to the rape thing for a second. This is what a lot of women don't consider. All right. When I got accused of rape, I want to walk you through the day that I had. All right. So I had hip surgery 2 weeks before even going down the interaction we had. I had hip surgery. I was on crutches with stitches in my right hip. All right. That makes it very, very hard to do any sort of rape.
You
Right.
had a lot of practice if you was.
Right, exactly. So with that being said, I was on my way back from the doctor in Jackson, Mississippi, because I had surgery. All right. And I got in a full-blown accident. I totaled my teammate's car, Nick. Shout out to Nick and the Brown family. All right. I totaled his white Camaro. Somebody was at a standstill on the highway. I slammed on brakes. About 15 seconds go by. I get boom, rear-ended on top of just leaving the hospital.
Right.
Right. It's pouring down rain, and I got on a white beater and some shorts.
Yeah.
Right. They're encouraging me, look, get in the ambulance. All right, file a police report. So as the ambulance is coming, I got a car totaled now, a car that's not mine, in a city and a state where I am not from, and I know little to nobody.
Right.
Right. I get a phone call. All right. Yeah, such and such. My name is Boone. I work at Alcorn, and I'm calling. You know, do you remember a young lady by the name of such and such? I'm like, I mean, I know a few of them. I'm not sure who you're referring to. Well, there was an instance. This young lady is accusing you of rape. I'm like, look, I just got in a major accident. All right, I don't even think I'm in my right mind right now. Like, it literally happened within the last 2 minutes. All right, can I give you a call back? Well, what like, my life is a blur right now, right? And I was so distraught that I didn't go to the hospital. I'm being accused of rape. I don't even have the phone with the evidence at the time. I gotta go try to see if I can get it. Right? And with men so quickly to be labeled as abusive, with men being so quickly labeled as rapists or especially black men, you know, we get a real bad rap. Nobody defends us. Our women don't defend us, and the rest of the country, the rest of the race, it's not their duty and responsibility, but nobody defends us, right? And like I said, so it makes sense that I would want to go as far as to record a moment like that. It wasn't egotistical, because I can, like I said, I have a number of videos and a number of different experiences, or whether it be text, pictures, videos, I got it all.
Right.
And for people to automatically just think, let's get a girl the benefit of the doubt. That's kind of like the problem that I have. My encouragement, take life serious.
Right.
All right, relationships are necessary unless you can afford to just take care of yourself. But even if you can afford to take care of yourself, is that the life you want to live?
Right.
So is there any takeaways that you got from this back and forth? If so, please share.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Especially at my age, when I'm dealing with people, I have to take it serious. Like I can't just be out here dealing with whoever. You're so right about the social media stuff and like what the media puts out. It seems like they are always encouraging women, especially a lot of our biggest influences like Ari and some of Sweetie songs. You know, I love my girl Sweetie. I love her music, but I get what you're saying. Like what they put out is encouraging, and
No,
I can
get
see why why you say society is putting it in our heads that we don't need a man. And like I said, me coming from a single mother,
FREE for. Go ahead.
I saw growing up from a single mother that yes, it's possible, but it's not ideal. So I want a man. Yeah, I feel like I need a man to be able to live the life that I want, and I'm comfortable saying that. I'm comfortable saying that. I know a lot of people don't like the word need, and it took me a while, a really long time. You know what I mean, to accept that. But I feel like to live a life that I want to live and to be comfortable being with a man would help me get to, you know.
That is all you had to say.
I think we could definitely focus more on positives. You know, there's a lot wrong. There's a lot that we need to work on as a generation, like on both sides. But I feel like we need to acknowledge the positive more. Like there's so many good things, like you said. Like the point that you made that really stuck with me is what's the word? Exuberant.
Yep, enthusiastic.
Like
exuberant.
that stuck out to me because it's true. I feel like both parties are benefiting. Like that's how a relationship is supposed to be. Like you should be making your partner feel like that, and you should want to feel like that about your partner. That's
100%.
Yeah,
100%.